What is your favorite, very creepy fact? Female mummies in ancient Egypt were always more decomposed than their male counterparts. They discovered that this was because male bodies were embalmed a lot sooner than female bodies. Female bodies were kept at the family home until they started to decompose in order to avoid necrophilia at the embalmers. Those goddamn mummifiers. A human corpse decomposes 4 times faster in water than in the ground, and 8 times faster in open air than in the ground. Sky burial is such a crazy cool concept. When I'm dead, just throw me in the trash and then burn the trash so it gives the bar that nice smoky smell and it goes up in the air and turns into stars. Cotard's delusion is a rare psychiatric condition, severe cases of which cause the sufferer to wholeheartedly believe they are dead, putrefying, or simply do not exist. Some Cotard's patients refuse to eat, as they do not believe they need to, with one notable patient dying of starvation. Another woman once asked to be taken to a morgue, to be with the other dead people. I once felt that I wasn't real when tripping on acid. Thankfully it only lasted 7 hours. This happened to me while tripping on shrooms outside at a campsite. Somewhere nearby there was apparently a dead animal. Every few minutes we would get a whiff of it, and as the trip intensified I came to believe it was my own rotting corpse I was smelling. I sat there in silence for hours, while everyone else was having a grand old time, then finally got up the courage to run away through the fields of wheatgrass like Russell Crowe in Gladiator. There is a rare genetic disease called fatal familial insomnia where over the course of months you literally cannot go or be put to sleep, no matter what you take or what you do. The symptoms get progressively worse until finally you stay awake watching yourself go insane until you die from exhaustion. There is a guy by the name of Reddify Rules who documented this genetic disease on YouTube, and with each video you can tell his mental state gets worse and worse. It eventually gets so bad that his last videos are just weird conspiracy theories, and, as expected from a disease with no cure, he sadly passed away before he started suffering from it, since it can sit in your genetic code for years without you noticing. He was an artist. May he rest in peace. Probably should be clarified that, while the symptoms and mental state could be similar, Cyan clarified in the video description of his first video regarding his insomnia that he did not have fatal familial insomnia, but rather, it was a side effect from taking a specific antibiotic that created a neurotoxic reaction resulting in his inability to sleep. The children's story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin was based on a real event. Hamelin town records start with this event. The earliest written record is from the town chronicles in an entry from 1384 which states, "It is 100 years since our children left. No one know what or who took the children, but there's records of the entire town's children being taken." I actually did some research into this. Historians believe the children were not taken as in kidnapped. No mysterious man grabbed all the children and took off. Instead, an illness probably spread which mostly impacted children who have a weaker immune system and are not as strong. The illness probably killed most, if not all, of the children. Another theory is that the rat catcher didn't kidnap them. Instead the parents gave them to him as payment instead of money. The human brain continues to give off electrical signals for 20 to 40 seconds after death. This is why sometimes people move right after they die. We took my mom off life support and held her hands as she passed. She had been unconscious for days at that point, unmoving. When she died, her whole body moved, like she was having a seizure, which was really upsetting. It's just the last bit of electricity in your brain going out. Also, hearing is the last sense to leave, so if you are with someone who is dying, please keep talking to them. The armpit is where all your important nerves in your arm, so if you stab it, you can't really use your arm. My friend was in the military police for a while. He was trained to incapacitate wasted and angry soldiers by jamming his thumb as hard as he could into the armpit. Apparently it can knock a person unconscious. Can anybody confirm if this is true? I always thought it was bollocks as I've never heard anybody else reference it. Former MP, trained by XSF and Marine Corps MCMAP instructors. This is true. There's a similar bundle of nerves in your legs, midway down your thigh on the outside, called the common peroneal. A good quick jab or knee strike can buckle both of the victim's knees. Scaphism, the worst way of execution I've ever heard of. The word comes from Greek, which stands for hollowed out. The victim is trapped between two boats, fed and covered with milk and honey, which then attracts all kinds of insects and vermin that fester and devours you over a couple of days. Kinda like that rat thing, where they heat up the cage, or whatever, so the rats escape through your body. Exactly, that was a typical medieval torture method which was used even for petty thieves, if I remember correctly. This was also shown in an episode of Game of Thrones. When your organs are taken out of your body for abdominal surgery, they don't get placed back in carefully or specifically. You just put all the organs back in, and the body sorts itself out. On top of that, some people are born with a condition called situs inversus, in which all their organs are a mirror image of what is normal. Having this automatically disqualifies you from being in the military. Back when I was a surgical intern, I remember that, after an abdominal surgery, the surgeon would grab the open edges of the abdominal cavity, like when you hold a plastic bag open, and shimmy the hell out of the person's open wound. I asked him what the hell he was doing, and he said when you shake a person's guts like this, they kinda fall into place on their own. I looked down, and he was right. They all fell perfectly into place. The body is weird, man. Like a squishy moist 3D puzzle. I saw a news story on a woman with a rare type of epilepsy that causes her to see everything like a slidder shower, a video game that gets 10 FPS. She described watching cars drive by and saying they freeze in place for a moment and then snap into position further down the road over and over. Her entire life is played out in front of her eyes in still frames, and because of that she wears blinders or earmuffs, because her senses are constantly contradicting one another, and it overwhelms her. I can't imagine how horrifying it would be to experience life like she does. Imagining lagging IRL 24/7 sounds painful. I hope the afterlife is a thing, so these people can experience seeing everything at average human FPS. It's already hard playing a racing game with bad lag, now do that in real life. While filming the movie The Exorcist, many actors got injured, the set burned down, a priest was brought in several times to bless the set, and the actor who played Burke, MacGowran, died of influenza. Just so you guys know, The Exorcist, a supernatural horror film directed by William Friedkin, was based on the 1971 novel of the same name by William Peter Blatty, which was in turn inspired by the exorcism case of Roland Doe, a pseudonym given to the victim by the Catholic Church. The 1973 film portrays the demonic possession of a 12-year-old girl. The story revolves around how the mother of the child attempts to seek normalcy in her daughter's life with the help of two priests who conduct exorcism. From its onset, the film went through troubled waters. Prestigious directors not only turned down the film, but ominous events surrounded the year-long shoot. Nearly 9 people died who were associated with the production of the film, and a mysterious fire destroyed the set one weekend. People started to believe that the project itself were cursed. A priest was brought in several times on the set to bless the film, its actors and the project. However, as if all the tragedies during the filmmaking process were not enough, that just after the work was wrapped up, the actor who played Burke in the film died of influenza. Heard that a guy that played one of the medical technician in the movie turned out to be a serial killer. Don't remember where I heard that, so I don't know if it's true. Patients undergoing colonoscopies are most commonly put under conscious sedation, meaning the anesthetic doesn't actually numb pain or even send you unconscious, they just impair your ability to form memories. You are awake and aware of the pain, you just don't remember. This is probably the worst one. Who greenlit that process? I've had an unsedated colonoscopy, and I've been told that's standard in the UK. It's not something I'd do for fun, but it's not like it's agonizing or anything. My doctor says that the sedation is so that people who should be getting regular screenings, like older people at risk of colon cancer, don't get anxious about having the procedure as often as they should. Though really, if that's the case, someone should be working on a less disgusting prep liquid. That's the worst part. The sun will burn out at some point, and unless we as a species escape this solar system, everything we have ever done, or will do, will be instantly erased and forgotten. Dude, I had an existential crisis when I was about 10 because of this. I was mortified at the thought that not just me, but everyone and everything on, and including the planet, would one day die. Imagine my mom's face when I told her that, lol. But seriously, that's really is the most depressing fact known to man. In the end, it doesn't even matter. None of it. All of the struggle and triumph of humanity will just be dust in the wind one day, unless religion is real. I'm sad now. There was a man from France named Terra, 1772-1798, who couldn't stop eating. By the time he was 17, his parents kicked him out. He was eating his own body weight in food daily at the time. When he enlisted in the army rations just couldn't satisfy him. Often, he would sneak out at night and search for offal in the garbage in the gutters. He was hospitalized, doctors trying to find the cure, but at night he would raid the morgue. Scientists, unable to stop his ability to eat almost anything, began to study it. They'd feed him such random things as eels. He'd swallow whole lizards, a kitten and puppies, all of which he ate alive. When a 14-month-old baby disappeared, he was chased from the hospital by an angry mob. He later died of tuberculosis. Terror, did you eat a baby? Scientists still don't know what purpose sleep has for our physical health. However, if you are deprived of it, within a few days you start to hallucinate, and your organs start to shut down. In under 2 weeks, it can be deadly. It's completely essential for survival. We spend a third of our lives doing it, and no one really knows why. Simple answer. We sleep, so none of that happens. Problem solved. I'd shake your hand, but science and all. Not a fact I know, but there was once this couple who tried experimenting with digital devices. They would talk about dog food for a couple minutes at a time, and even though they didn't have a dog, they began getting tons of ads for dog supplies. Similar things happen to my family. It could simply be confirmation bias, but it could be something else. Oh, it's definitely a thing. You say any random thing in front of your phone and have certain apps downloaded, you will get the ads.